You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
I think that's something I would love to speak to, actually, because I think that equestrians do suffer with that person has more than me, therefore it's easier for them. That is really a big misunderstanding. And it's a big projection. Like, just because you have more support, or which sounds insane. It's like, duh. They have more support, they have more horses. Of course that's better. But that comes with an expectation too. Like, yes, that is a privilege to come with even talent, or like loads of support, or great horses. That comes with a pressure too. Yes, it's a privilege, but it comes with a pressure. And like, maybe you don't have as much support, or you don't have as nice of horses. That's a privilege, to be the underdog, to have no expectations. Nobody's thinking you're going to win. Nobody's expecting any different. And that's also a privilege. What I want, like, I mean, because we can go down like really, this person or that person, but these are some themes that I see. And if people could really just live in reality of like, this is what I have, and I am going to maximize this. I am going to squeeze every possibility from this situation. You will learn to be resourceful, and you'll stop looking and comparing yourself, because looking and comparing and feeling less than, that's all something deep within you that you need to meet. That, trust me, if you got more money, got more horses, even got more wins, that not enoughness wouldn't go away. So don't project that it's easier for them or harder for them. Life is a great equalizer. Stay in your own lane, maximize what you do have. And I will say that someone that is a beautiful example of this is Boyd Martin.
Welcome to the Practical Horseman podcast, featuring conversations with respected riders, industry leaders, and horse care experts. The show is co-hosted by Practical Horseman editors, and our goal is to inform, educate, and inspire. I'm Alana Harrison, and this week's episode is with personal performance coach Natalie Hummel. Natalie Hummel is a leading high-performance coach and nervous system expert for top professional athletes in all sports, but her experience as a former upper-level eventer enables her to especially relate to riders. Natalie started riding at 10, and after moving up the ranks, she eventually achieved 3-star status and started working for Michael Pollard. But after back-to-back tragedies involving the unexpected death of several horses, her heart was too broken to continue in this sport. And the energy and passion she'd felt for riding started to shift toward pursuing higher education. After getting her PhD in clinical psychology, she went on to develop Natalie Hummel Coaching, her personal performance coaching program that aims to help equestrians break through mental and emotional blocks. Drawing from neuroscience and somatic integration, Natalie helps elite athletes rewire their physiological responses to stress so they can access clarity, consistency, and flow when it matters most. She's worked with a number of top eventers, including Boyd Martin and Hannah Sue Hollberg, and countless other riders who come to her stuck in repeating patterns that often surface at the worst moments, the center line, the end gate, or in the quiet corners of everyday life. Through her coaching methods, Natalie focuses on helping riders reset their baseline, release subconscious performance blocks, and compete with more ease, power, and purpose. In today's podcast, Natalie talks about her journey from being an upper-level eventer to becoming a coach, and discusses the unique mental and emotional challenges faced by riders. She emphasizes the importance of understanding the nervous system dealing with fear, and separating one's identity from performance. The conversation also touches on the misconceptions surrounding talent and support in equestrian sport, the significance of learning from failures, and the emotional aspects of recovering from injuries. Additionally, Natalie highlights her upcoming projects, including a new masterclass with Boyd Martin and a new program focused on self-mastery and performance mastery. Before jumping into the discussion, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this podcast, DECRA, and share their message. DECRA is a global specialist in veterinarian pharmaceuticals and related products. Our expertise is in the development, manufacture, sales, and marketing of high-quality products exclusively for veterinarians worldwide. We are driven by our purpose of sustainable improvement of local animal health and welfare. DECRA's equine portfolio is diverse and focuses on mobility, joint health, reproduction, anesthesia, dermatology, ophthalmology, and fluid therapy. Our key brands include Zycosan, Pentosan polysulfite sodium injection, Osphos, clodronate injection, Provet APC, autologous platelet concentrate system, Orthokine VetiWrap, Equidon gel, domperidone, and Vitavex fluids. DECRA's rapid growth is fueled by these key products and others in the portfolio, as well as recent, highly successful acquisitions. We continue to grow because we understand the challenges veterinarians face, and we give them what they need. DECRA provides continual training and support to help veterinarians help animals. For more information, please go to DECRA, DECRA-US.com. Again, that's DECRA, DECRA-US.com, or call 866-933-2472. That's 866-933-2472. Hi, Natalie. Thank you so much for being on the Practical Horseman podcast today. We are thrilled to have you.
Yay, I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for hosting.
Absolutely. Natalie, can you first just speak to kind of what inspired you to become a personal performance coach?
My own inability to achieve my dreams. I needed me. So I became me.
That's amazing. And so that was, from what I understand, you used to be a former upper level eventer yourself.
Yeah, I tried really hard. I didn't get anywhere.
Yeah. Can you tell us just a little bit about your background and how you first got started with horses?
Yeah, I actually love this story. I grew up outside of Atlanta, and the neighborhood that I lived in, when the woman that owned the land sold it to the contractor, she made them uh, uphold this agreement that every single lot had to be at least 5 acres. And that's unheard of where I lived. And basically, just right outside the city. They were little tiny lots. So we had these 5-acre lots, and my best friend had a barn on her lot, and somebody was coming to rent it out and to use it. And so I was helping her and her family for weeks, clean it up and get it ready. And then one time I'm at her house and I'm jumping on the trampoline, and the lady had already moved in, and she was jumping this Palomino horse. And I stopped in my tracks. I was like, you can do that with a horse. And I ran out of the trampoline. I ran into the arena, and my first coach was named Ton Edwards. She still has an amazing riding school in Georgia. And she tells the story, like, this golden retriever runs into the ring. And I asked her right then, I'm like, can you teach me to do that? And she said, not today, but I was like, or you can't jump today is what she said. I said, but can you start teaching me today? And she's like, I have to talk to your parents. I'm like, 1 minute. And I ran home, got my dad, and was like, I'm going to jump a horse. You have to come. So I was hooked. I was like, it was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. And I still love horses so much. What they give us, it's like nothing else in life.
Yeah, for sure. And then, Natalie, did you progress from kind of like your eventing career? Like, when did you kind of make the turn and decide to kind of more focus on the coaching aspect of it?
Well, it's not a fun story. It's a story with lots of traumatic stops on it. But the two things that really changed the trajectory of my life were the trailer accident with Michael. I was driving, and they were Michael Pollard's horses, and it was fatal for most of them, all but two of them actually. And so that, and then while I was I was getting back into school, I was going to undergrad, I had this opportunity to go study in Spain, and I took it. And Michael said, okay, we'll keep your horses competing. And then one of them died in competition while I was gone. And I was like, okay. And it wasn't actually like a full decision, honestly. It just, my heart was so heartbroken, and school was going really well. And I really was loving, like, I worked in a research lab. And so it was more like, I just kind of didn't replace that horse. I sold the other one. I didn't take in because the community really came together. Like, I had old coaches offering me horses. Like, I could have stayed, but my heart just like didn't say yes to any of those things. And my heart, every ounce of energy I was putting into the horses, I put into school. And it just was this shift that happened almost unconsciously.
Yeah. Okay. And can you remind me, Natalie, did you study for the sports psychology in Spain?
I only did a semester in Spain. It was just this opportunity to go. No, I actually my undergrad is at the University of Louisville
Okay.
in
Okay.
Kentucky. Yeah.
Okay. Very
Mhm.
fitting. Yeah. For the horse world.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I started going there when I was still riding full time. And then I
Right.
was like, all right,
Right.
I'll finish it out.
Yeah. No, for sure. And can you speak a little bit, Natalie, and we'll get more into obviously the deep dive on the sports psychology side of things, but about how your experience as a upper level eventer kind of really helps you relate to riders?
Oh, I think it's invaluable. Like, at first, I really didn't see the difference, but now I have clients that are surfers, are tennis players, are basketball players, and I mean, the richness that my background gives me, like the knowing what they go through day to day. Like, even when I'm explaining something, I can always find an incredible analogy to use with the horses or the sport, or like, and just that closeness to the sport, that lived experience actually is invaluable. Like, not only in the depth of understanding, but then in the depth of communication of what I can explain to them through what they already know.
Oh, for sure. 100%. And then can you kind of speak just a little bit about the unique mental and emotional challenges riders face kind of compared to other sports, especially because, you have such vast experience coaching different sports that kind of don't involve a living, breathing animal.
Yeah, I would say things that are unique to the sport is we project a lot onto the horse. We say, like, I don't want to disappoint my horse, or my horse is too good for me, or because of also the financial burden of equestrian sports, there's also that makes it pretty unique, to be honest. The root of all of them is, I'm not enough in some way. I'm not enough for my horse. I'm not enough for the sport. I'm not enough for either the investment that I've been given or the lack of investment I've been given. And so it's all just rooted in this not enoughness, which is not unique. to athletes or human beings in general. Anyone with a nervous system has a voice and a part of them that says they're not enough. But how it's said, like the exact flavor of it with the horses and like, oh, I disappointed my horse, I failed my horse, I'm letting them down, is very unique to obviously equestrians.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. It's like you're not really letting your tennis racket down.
Yeah. But trust me, they let someone down. They'll find, their ego will be like, you let down your cousin today.
Right.
We will find someone that we have let down.
Yeah, no, for
The
sure.
referee was really rooting for me and I really let him down. We will find anything to reject this. I'm not enough. I don't deserve this. We will find like the grass was counting on me,
Right. Exactly. Because it's human nature. Yeah.
It's human nature.
Yeah. And Natalie, you just kind of alluded to this, but I know you've talked a lot about sometimes when riders experience mental or emotional kind of blocks, that it essentially does kind of come down to our nervous system. For listeners who aren't really familiar with that, can you kind of touch on that and explain that for us?
Yeah, the nervous system can get really complicated in an explanation. So, and I've been playing with different ways because in practical sense and practical application, it's quite simple, but it can get really complicated if you start to explain the physiology and the different parts and all of these things. But basically, your nervous system wants to survive. Okay. Obviously that this is its main goal. And how we perceive survival and safety is through what is familiar. And then what is familiar becomes a pattern. So just like when you're driving to work, you don't need to use maps. When you're driving to the barn, that is a pattern. You could go so unconscious, you don't even need to think. Or like I heard this the other day described in a book. If I showed you the bottom half of a picture and it showed a hoof or like an elephant's foot, and you could see the outline, you could see the trunk of their leg, your brain would automatically say, oh, it's an elephant. Or even if I wrote out a sentence and even majority of the words were misspelt, but because there was some context and they were the first letter and the last letter were correct, you could still read that sentence. And that just shows you how patterned we are, which is a good thing. We don't have to think about walking. We don't have to think about getting to work. We use our conscious mind for other things. And most of us, our familiar isn't in alignment with our goals. So then our familiar and the patterns of our familiar, which your nervous system wants to keep you in, are not in line with the patterns that would get you your goals. So we have to make the patterns that would get you your goals more familiar. We have to bring safety to them. That's like the simplest way I can explain it is like right now, your outcome that you're getting is because of a pattern. And so in order to change the outcome, you actually have to change the pattern.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very fascinating. And I know, obviously a lot of writers have just that, like you alluded to, that paralyzing fear of making a mistake, especially, if it's a competition or they're under the public microscope. Do you have a certain process on how you help them get comfortable with that fear process, or is it kind of vary from individual?
No, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Which again, it's when you describe the nervous system, it makes it sound like, oh my gosh, this is so complicated. And, we could go deep into the science, into the cell and each nerve and each branch. I mean, it can sound so complicated, but in practice, it is so simple. It's like what people should understand and take away from this podcast. I don't care if you're wanting a better relationship, if you're wanting a better diet, if you're wanting a better weight, if you want to be more athletic, if you want to win a 5-star, if you want to make X amount more money, what will determine that is your ability to sit with discomfort and be with discomfort. Because when you do something that is not that pattern of familiar, it will cause a fear response. And so if you don't know how to be with that fear response, it will block you. It will stop you from changing that outcome. So when that fear comes up, we're taught to move away from it, to avoid it. But your nervous system is an avoidance strategy. So if it thinks that you're avoiding something, it thinks that's because it's a threat. And then how it protects you from threat is to get you dysregulated, where that's nowhere where you should be competing in. That's not helpful. So when fear comes up, you have to predict it. Like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. I'm doing something that's outside my familiar. Even if it feels familiar to you, it's not. If you're having fear, that is a direct signal to you that this is not your familiar. This is not your pattern. And we have to systematically get you comfortable with that fear and be able to not run from it, not positive think your way out of it, not affirm your way out of it, but actually sit with that experience of fear, which I can tell you it'll feel like fiery, or it might feel dull and heavy, or it might feel like somebody's like you can't breathe, or there's an elephant sitting on your chest. It'll feel something like that. And you will want to distract yourself. You will want to eat. You will want to run. You will want to sleep. You will want to shop. You will want to drink. You will want to do anything other than feel that fear. But if you want to be successful, if you want to change your outcomes, you have to learn how to sit with that fear.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fascinating. I think, I don't know, maybe for like me personally, from a mental perspective, I don't know if you tell yourself, okay, I know it's going to be uncomfortable, it's just so you can prepare for it more and be like,
it's not,
if you brain, it's not always going to be uncomfortable.
Yes. But I think what we do is we tell ourselves we should be, no. When I get there, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to be perfect and I'm not going to have any bad feelings. And then a bad feeling comes up and we're like, oh my God, no, this isn't how I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be brave. I'm supposed to be clear. I'm supposed to be present. And actually that reaction is the problem. The fear is not the problem. You are biologically wired for that. You're going to have that. That's not the problem. Your reaction to it, you thinking that it shouldn't be there, is the problem. It's there. Now what? Now what's the most effective way of being with it? And the more you know that it's coming, know how to handle it, have practiced handling it hundreds of times by the time you got to the competition, it's just like putting on a saddle. Yeah. You're like, got it.
It's just part of the process, for sure.
Part of the process. Yeah. Exactly.
And Natalie, can you speak to how do you help riders kind of separate their identities with their performances?
Well, that is the $1 million question, isn't it? Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think every human has a question that they need to ask themselves. Am I going to live from fear, or am I going to live from love? And am I going to see every single opportunity from fear, like this is happening to me, this is blocking me, this is horrible, this is proving that I'm not enough? Or are you going to see every obstacle as an opportunity? And you really need to answer that fundamental question. And you need to see that sport, that life, that business, whatever it is that you're trying to excel in, is your playground for self-mastery. Don't settle for, I got this quote from a book, don't settle for a lollipop when you could get the whole candy store. Don't settle for that win that you got from proving, from fear, from anxiety, when you could self-actualize, become the best version of yourself, the best athlete of yourself. Don't settle for just this like one win or this one fail. Don't settle for that. Keep aiming towards who you want to be, and who you want to be is someone that can handle failure, handle setbacks, show up with grace, see everything as an opportunity. And what you do and who you are separate things. And you can become more of who you were meant to be through what you do, but not the other way around.
Right. That's so true. So true. And Natalie, we understand you were very instrumental in helping 5-star eventer Hannah Sue Hollberg through some difficult roadblocks in her career.
That's my girl.
Yeah, I interviewed her for a podcast. I think it was last fall maybe. And she, of course, talked a lot about you.
Aw.
But you guys kind of both realized that it wasn't just going to be kind of a patch job situation. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about your journey with Hannah and how you guys worked together to kind of get to the root of what she was dealing with?
Yeah. Wow. Hannah, first of all, shout out to Hannah. She's so like what an incredible person we have in the sport that is so open and honest and talking about all of these things. And I think if you look at Hannah's career, she's been going 5-star since she was like 19 or 20. I think she's barely missed a season of it. I think this is like one of her first seasons of not competing. And it's literally because of her horse slipped in the field. It's like nothing big, but you can, and she's sponsored and supported by the Mars. You could look at her career and think that's what I want. And that's the pinnacle of perfection. And if I just had the Mars and I just was able to do this at such a young age, I would have no problems. We so easily project things onto people. And the truth is you are going to suffer in life. That is just the truth of it. And actually, I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as if you use that suffering, those obstacles as an opportunity, you become more of who and what you're supposed to be. So of course, Hannah just comes to me and she's like, all of a sudden I'm just scared of everything and I can't do my job and I can barely go to the barn because I'm just so scared of messing them up or disappointing someone or, it was much different than, oh, I want to win this competition or this 5-star. It was an unraveling of this, like you asked me about this identity. She's been so talented for so long and people have projected all of these things onto her for so long and put all these expectations, which is amazing. It's a privilege, but your nervous system can perceive that as I'm always letting people down. I'm never living up to expectations. I'm never enough. And that when you're living under that, that's crippling. That is horrible to go and live through and think, but it's also completely human. If you mess up but you have all these people supporting you and all these expectations on you, it's going to be really easy for the ego to say, you don't deserve this. You've disappointed everyone. You shouldn't have what you have. I mean, that's a very human thing that the ego will say. And so if you're not on the road to self-mastery and you don't know what to do with your ego and you're just believing it like the Bible, that's going to be a really painful life. So we had to really, with Hannah, help her see that win or lose, 5-star or not, you are separate from Hannah, the event rider. You have worth, you have value in just your essence and just your presence. And yes, you have disappointed people, and that's okay. That's not a life sentence. That's okay. I've disappointed people. I can feel that. And now what? And yes, I failed. Yes, I have let people down, or I've let people's projections of me down. And just living in reality with, yes, that could have been true. And that's not a life sentence. That's an experience that happened to you. That's not the totality of you. And you still have an entire future to still write. And if you're not living from this pattern, though, it became patterned that when I ride, I disappoint. That's literally what her brain started to perceive. So of course she's going to avoid riding. It means hurting people. She doesn't like to hurt people. So it was really repatterning that, which took a long time because it really started very young for her, starting to feel that way. It wasn't because everybody thought that it was going to be a quick fix with Hannah because she's such a beautiful rider and she's always been a really good competitor. In truth, I really don't think I've helped her much. And I mean, maybe marginally 10% in competition. She's always been a really good competitor. But what we've done is really help that identity and that sense of worth, no matter if she is winning or losing.
Right. No, for sure. And like you said, if it started for her at just such a young age, I'm sure it just became such a pattern that it just becomes harder to get out of once you're kind of stuck there, for sure.
Yes, it's deep. These things are really deep, and that's okay. Like some people can see that as like such a sad thing or like, oh, why are we made this way? Or like, this is like a defect in us. But really, as humans and like as it would be a really good frame to take this on for any of the listeners. Like we learn in opposites and relativity, like to know to know joy, we have to know suffering. To know hot, we have to know cold, and vice versa. That's just how we're designed. And it's all an experience. And when you really know, and Hannah would tell you the same thing, when you actually learn how to deal with those things, it's not Pollyannish. You truly feel grateful for everything, the wins, the losses, the hard times, the good times. That gratitude becomes unwavering.
For sure. Natalie, any other writers that you have helped kind of that come to mind, or challenging situations that you've kind of helped people get through? I'm sure there are tons of stories, but just if there's any other standouts.
What I could say is, I think that's something I would love to speak to, actually, because I think that equestrians do suffer with that person has more than me, therefore it's easier for them. That is really a big misunderstanding. And it's a big projection. Like, just because you have more support, or which sounds insane. It's like, duh. They have more support, they have more horses. Of course that's better. But that comes with an expectation too. Like, yes, that is a privilege to come with even talent, or like loads of support, or great horses. That comes with a pressure too. Yes, it's a privilege, but it comes with a pressure. And like, maybe you don't have as much support, or you don't have as nice of horses. That's a privilege, to be the underdog, to have no expectations. Nobody's thinking you're going to win. Nobody's expecting any different. And that's also a privilege. What I want, because we can go down like really, this person or that person, but these are some themes that I see. And if people could really just live in reality of like, this is what I have, and I am going to maximize this. I am going to squeeze every possibility from this situation. You will learn to be resourceful, and you'll stop looking and comparing yourself, because looking and comparing and feeling less than, that's all something deep within you that you need to meet. That, trust me, if you got more money, got more horses, even got more wins, that not enoughness wouldn't go away. So don't project that it's easier for them or harder for them. Life is a great equalizer. Stay in your own lane, maximize what you do have. And I will say that someone that is a beautiful example of this is Boyd Martin. Now he has nice horses, but for the longest time he did not. We all love Testerleg. We love him. He's like America's like heart horse. And is it the nicest horse? Does it jump the best? No. And look what Boyd was able to do with that horse. And one thing that I just so admire and love to talk about with Boyd is Boyd just marries the process. He just does what is in his control, and he does it to his best of ability, and he doesn't let his mind go to the things that he cannot control. How much money, the sponsors, the owners, all of these things. It's like, this is the horse on this day. I'm going to do my best with what I can, with what I have. And so I think like just offering that to listeners, just watch the mind, be careful of getting in the drama, wasting your time in comparison, thinking it's easy for them. You really don't know. All you know is what you have. And so just commit yourself to maximizing what you do have, and you will become resourceful, and life will work out for you. I promise.
Yeah. That's such valuable advice, because at the end of the day, just comparing, it's just like wasted. It's just a waste.
Wasted.
Yeah.
One more thing I'll add to that.
There's effort
too.
So many other things.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was just about to say. So thanks for bringing that up. Is we overvalue talent and support. We overvalue it. Talent is a part of it, sure. But I know very talented people that aren't winning 5 stars. I know extremely talented people that aren't. And I know people that had to work and had to, I couldn't see a distance and had to like drill that in and develop, and had a horrible sitting trot, or had a horrible seat, and that have won 5 stars. So you don't over index like wealth from your family or whatever, and don't over index talent. Just stay in your lane and control what you can control.
Yeah. Yeah. Such good advice. Natalie, you kind of have touched on this, but I just wanted to see if there was anything else you would add. Obviously, especially in equestrian sports, things often just don't go according to plan. Anything
Yeah.
else on like how you help people at any level kind of just get through those difficult times?
Yeah, I mean, they don't go to plan a lot, and actually in any sport, I was teaching in my how to perform group program. We talk a lot about failure, and I was doing some research for the call one time, and I was looking up statistics about failure. And like even Michael Jordan, this will blow your mind. Like Michael Jordan, it has the most game winning shots, like meaning like at the buzzer, makes the shot and gets it and wins. He has the record for that. And it's not an official record, but it's like he has it because they don't have like an award for that. But it's, if you look at the scoreboards and the sheets, he has the most times that he has successfully hit the game-winning shot at buzzard. He also has the most for missing it. So what does that tell you? That tells you that you have to take the chance. You have to take the chance. You can't be scared of failing, and never once did Michael Jordan say, well, maybe I'm not the one that should be doing this. No, he's like, I should be doing this. I should keep going. And that's what I love about Boyd. Boyd falls off with 2 horses at Maryland, same jump, then comes back to Kentucky and has 3 in the top 10, like things will go wrong. Expect it. But here's what I like to tell people is like, when things go wrong, don't also take it like, oh, of course it went wrong. Like don't also then be a victim to it going wrong. And don't become familiar with it going wrong. Like expect it, but then examine it. What exactly went wrong? And then change something. Don't just think, okay, I need to go do that again. Oh, I need to like double down on the preparation that got me this bad result. It's like, what do I need to shift? Because that's another thing people do is they have failures and then they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, thinking that eventually the process will work. Well, no. What's the reality? Is your process working or not? Are you getting the desired result or not? That is what you need to ask yourself. And if you are not getting the desired result, something about your process needs to change. And so when you view it that way, failures become incredible, like an important part of your process because it is eliciting what needs to change. When you win, you don't really look at it. You're like, I won, it went well. When you fail, you're like, why? What went wrong? What do I need to change? And so that's just what I would offer. Like expect it. If you're going to be great at anything, it's a numbers game. You're almost going to fail more than you win. So expect it, but don't be victim. Don't get used to it. Don't settle for it. Know that it's happening for you to change something about your process.
Right, right. It's kind of like if you keep getting the same bad distance, you got to change either your turn.
You got to change something.
Or something for sure.
You got to change something. Yes.
And Natalie, just curious, but do you also help riders like recovering from injuries? I've obviously talked to a lot of eventers who have had a very difficult time kind of being on the sidelines during an injury.
During an injury is an incredible time to start this work. I mean, anytime someone in our realm, like of Hannah and I's realm, when they get hurt, she's like, great, start studying, like take her course, like go to this call of hers. She's like, perfect, because now you have the time. But injuries leave a physical mark and they leave an emotional mark. And so again, we're pattern. So what happens is, and then we have this negative confirmation bias. So we think if it happened once, it's going to happen again. And then we kind of create the pattern because we like to be in the familiar. So it's really important when you're hurt to notice how that is affecting you emotionally and really do the work to not create a pattern. Really do the work to see exactly what went wrong, what you could do different, and then process the emotions, which means sit with them. If you feel scared, sit with them. If you feel disappointed, sit with it. And in this day and age where we're just so distracted, we can't even pay attention for 1 second. Even though what I'm telling you is really simple, that's really hard in practice. Like, to be good at sitting with what's coming up in your system is something that you need to master, uh, but it is actually hard in practice.
Right. It's kind of like what you talked about at the beginning, because you just naturally want to avoid it so bad.
Exactly. And we're taught to avoid it. Think about when you used to fall down as a kid. Right when you would fall down, your parents say, "Don't cry. No, 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 you're okay. Oh, look at me, you're okay." And that is well meaning, but no wonder we distract ourselves from hard emotions. And then that's also when patterns form. So you got to learn to process, integrate, embrace them so it doesn't form a pattern.
Yeah, for sure. Natalie, what would you say is the hardest part about your job?
Um, so this might be, I don't know if this is what you're looking for. The hardest part about my job is running a company. Uh, to be honest, I love coaching. It is totally my genius. This is what I've been put on the earth to do. It comes, of course, I have degrees and I've studied it and I continue to study it, but it's a gift. It comes really natural to me. I rarely hit up against a problem with a client I don't know how to solve. I love it. It makes me feel useful. It makes me feel like I'm giving to people. I just love it. I love the transformation it has. But I didn't realize that I would grow this much this fast. And I always knew I was going to be a coach, but I didn't know I was going to be a CEO. And those are two different skill sets. Turns out, not as talented of a CEO. Turns out that was not a gift of mine. So that has really been a sharp learning curve. Like, I mean, I have failed at being a CEO and hiring, and I've failed a lot. And I've made some decisions that have affected people. And, uh, it's hard to scale too. You let people down because you're not available as much, and they got used to you one way, and you're scaling, and you're not as available. And that has been the hardest part of my job. But it's also been the edge, the opportunity. I've grown so much in 3 years. Like, who I was 3 years ago and who I am today are just totally different, and that wouldn't have happened if I just happened to be good at being a CEO too. Like, if I just was like, "Yeah, this is in me. I know how to do it." It was the opposite of that, and it's almost like my biggest growth opportunity. And so now I'm figuring it out. I've got it, but that was really hard. That was like a really sharp learning curve for me.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine, especially in such a short amount of time, for sure.
Yes.
Okay. And Natalie, what would you say is the most rewarding?
Oh, yeah, the transformation, the people saying, "Oh, I've never felt like this. I didn't know I could feel like this. I didn't know life could be this way." That is that is by far the most rewarding. And it really, if I'm a competitive person, meaning I love when someone's greatness pulls out someone else's greatness. I love seeing greatness in motion, but sometimes I get more satisfaction from someone like having a better relationship with their daughter, their husband, their partners, or just their entire life feeling different and than I even do about a big win. Although I love the big wins, it's so fun to be there, and it's so satisfying. But to see who people become in the pursuit of is chef's kiss.
I love it. And this may be hard for you to say as yourself, but why do you think you've been so successful as a performance coach?
That's a that's a good question. I think I have a mind that is really good at synthesizing science. And I think I deeply understand the human condition, and I deeply understand wanting greatness and having an ego that says you can't have that. And so I've walked the path myself. I am like my own best student. So I think that that makes me an incredible like way shower in a way. And it's so like embodied in me, and it makes me have a deep trust within myself because I've been able to kind of move past every obstacle in my own life, and arrive at this place where life is really beautiful. It doesn't mean it's not without hard times, and I expect them, so I don't see them in opposition of gratitude and beauty. But yeah, I think being on the path to self-actualizing and self-mastery and achieving things that I've been wanting to achieve makes me just a good way shower, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And just out of curiosity, do you go back and forth between Atlanta and Costa Rica just to work with different clients? I didn't know if the Costa Rica was like for surfers or.
Yeah, I'm a surfer.
I knew you were a surfer too.
Yeah. So I just projected on the energy that I used to put onto horses into surfing. And I'm like, I'm becoming good at this. It was like a same love affair as I had with horses.
Yeah.
I surfed once and I was like, this is my entire life now. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm moving. I'm learning this. I got a coach. I'm hardcore. But yeah, so no, actually, originally it was just because I wanted to become good at something. I wanted to master something. So I came here. I actually came here first with Michael Pollard. We brought our spouses here and went on a vacation. And then I was like, this place is awesome. And then I moved here. And then of course I've acquired surfers from having lived here, which is really cool. I have one of the top Costa Rican surfers as a client, and he's incredible. He's taught me a lot in and out of the water, and working with him has been really fun.
Yeah, very cool. Do you find there's lots of parallels?
It's almost the same sport.
Yeah.
It's almost the same sport. Like it's so much body control and like tiny movements and pressure and release. Surfing is all about applying pressure and then releasing that pressure to create a movement. And you do so like the more like when you watch a really good surfer, they look like they're not doing anything. Like you're like, what are they doing? Like, how are they making these huge movements and all they're doing is like these tiny things. But same as horses. You watch somebody, like if you watch Hannah, watch her ride show jumping, she doesn't freaking move. It's just, but that's like masterful. So to be masterful at surfing and masterful at the horses is very similar body mechanics. And then also working with something that's a living, breathing thing. Of course, a wave doesn't have a mind or a heart, but it is nature and it has its own rhythm. So kind of learning how to be within that rhythm, not like control it, not force it, but really harness it is the ethos, I would say. And it's a similar one to horses.
That is so super fascinating. I'm not a surfer,
So
but
cool.
like from that perspective, that's amazing.
It's so cool. It's such a cool sport. It's amazing.
And Natalie, I understand that you have a couple of new launches that are coming out. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about those, just so our listeners will be aware of them?
Yeah, it's actually super exciting. So Boyd Martin and I have teamed up and we are creating a course called the Champions Code. And it's a master class. I think it has 9 modules. Yeah. And really what's so cool about Boyd is he's a champion, like he just has that within him. And he's so funny. He'll be like, hey, mate, well, how I do this is X, Y, Z. And I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense in science. The reason that works is X, Y, Z things. And he's like, well, I've always done it like that. Like he just knew these things, or the things that I talk about failure. Boyd's like, yeah, I've been doing that my whole life. Like some of these things have come so natural to Boyd. It's comical, really. So in this masterclass, in this Champions Code, we break down what does it mean to be a champion? What is that code? And Boyd talks about it from a very lived experience. And then I explain how someone else can learn to be that way, can use science, can use psychology, can use emotional and self-mastery to learn these skills that Boyd has. And so that's really, really, really exciting. I think I'm so excited to see how people react to it. I mean, Boyd is hilarious and so much fun to be around, and we really have a good time together. So I think that is like a really special thing that we're doing. And then I have 2 programs right now, and next year I'm going to change them to 1 year-long program, because really, in order to get performance mastery, you have to get self-mastery, and one without the other doesn't work. And so I used to do this program called How to Heal and then How to Perform. And now I'm going to switch that up, and it's just going to be called Limitless Academy. And you can come and you can learn self-mastery, and then you can learn performance mastery, all in a year-long container, which is how long it takes anyways, if not more. And you get all of the tools, all of the support, all of the rituals. Like, we're just holding you through that. Like, there's no guesswork. There's no you have to depend on yourself to do it. It's like, we got you. We're walking you through until this becomes your new pattern. So I cannot wait, because that's really what people need. Like, of course, you could take one course and learn a lot, but there's a difference between learning and it becoming a pattern. And so I wanted to build something that it actually becomes a pattern by the end.
Yeah, excellent. And I'm sorry, Natalie, you said that was coming for next year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that will launch sometime by the end of the year, but then it will start at the beginning of 2026.
Okay.
And then Boyd and I's masterclass, that launches really soon. So I think sometime mid-October. Yeah.
Excellent. And can viewers, do they watch it through your website? Will it be available on Boyd's?
Through his or my website.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Very exciting. Very exciting.
I know. It's so cool it's just such a great idea to have someone that's been there and achieved, and then someone that can explain, why and how, and then how to do that in yourself.
I think so many riders always want to know the why, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the how.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Natalie, we have covered so very much, but is there anything I just didn't think to ask you that you feel like would be important to add to the conversation? And if you do feel like we covered it all, absolutely fabulous.
I would just say to anyone listening, your mind is going to try to convince you of all sorts of things and all sorts of limitation. And I just really want to tell everyone out there that you are here for a reason, and greatness lives inside of you. You have a light inside of you, and we are so easily comparing our light. Oh, that light's bigger, this light's bigger, but every light is needed, and it's your job just to shine it and follow your dreams, follow your desires, live in your fullest integrity, because your light does matter and it does contribute to the whole. And so just hold that with you. Don't let the mind win and tell you any limiting stories about yourself, because they are not true.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Natalie, so much for joining us today. We so appreciate you being here.
Yay. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's conversation with Natalie Hummel. And a big thank you to the episode sponsor, DECRA. You can subscribe to the Practical Horseman podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen. While you're there, please rate and review the show. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Alana Harrison, and you've been listening to the Practical Horseman podcast.